Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 2, a last-minute equaliser from a Lacazette really and truly saves the blushes of Arsenal Football Club. Palace with the better team to a man. An excellent start to this game from Arsenal. They came out They came out the starting traps on fire, pressing, pushing, hurrying, and they scored. They scored that early goal, and you thought it could be a very tough night tonight indeed for Crystal Palace. But then Palace got better and better, and between conceding the goal and equalising 62% of the ball, the Crystal Palace dominated at the Emirates Stadium. They got their equaliser after a brilliant press led to an error from Thomas Partey, who later on in the game was taken off, of course, to try and throw some extra firepower on for Martinelli. They got the goal from Christian Benteke, and then Arsenal did start to come alive. An excellent save after Lacazette came on, made by the Crystal Palace goalkeeper. And then a few minutes later, a brilliant counter-attack. And there you go. Ball put in the back of the net by Edouard. Excellent start to his Premier League campaign. And Arsenal threw absolutely everything at it. Probably a mistake, really, in the last 10 minutes to bring on James Tompkins for Edouard. It really gave the impetus back to Arsenal. And a lot of Arsenal fans might tonight feel like they've got away with one somewhat. Palace fans are going to be disappointed. But Arsenal Football Club remain, they remain in 12th position in the league. I think I tweeted 14th. I didn't update things. I'll have to update that. I will delete it and repost it. It was a mistake from me in relation to that. But the sentiment's the same. They're sitting in 14th position before that equaliser. And of course, you celebrate it as a football club equalising because you never want your team to lose, or most fans don't ever want their team to lose. But in the cold, hard light of day, it was another abstract performance and almost an infuriating performance from Arsenal Football Club in many ways, because every time Arsenal turned it on, every time Arsenal tried to score, every time Arsenal went forward, every time Arsenal were the aggressor in that game, they were the better team. So why sit back? I spoke to a few Gooners that said to me, that's just the way Arteta plays. My question is that sustainable? Is that sustainable in the Premier League to keep playing like that? Is it about needing better players? Give me your thoughts. Give me your feelings. I want to know what you think and feel in relation to that, Gooners, because, our own Jess, who comes on the show, was absolutely abused left, right, and centre from Arsenal fans for suggesting that it was a crazy notion to say we're going to get 12 points from our next 12 games. We had Curran on the football terrace on Friday saying we're going to batter Crystal Palace. And Arsenal have improved, I think, slightly this season in terms of how they're playing football under Mikel Arteta. But has there been a little bit too much gaslighting? Has there been a little bit too much impetus on, we're going all the way with this young side? I think maybe that's the case, but I want to hear from you, Gooners. I want you to come on and have your say with us this evening. Matt Ryan says, United, Leicester, Spurs, all labelled awful, yet are ahead of Arsenal. Egal, Jess, Harry need to see Arsenal under Arteta. They are doomed for 10th. Do you know what it is? I don't know what to say to that, other than the fact that they're in a bit of trouble. They're in a little bit of trouble. I feel like their improvements are there. I just think some people are getting a little bit ahead of themselves. Again, I was berated and attacked online for saying calm down a little bit a few weeks ago. And it was exactly for this. What I would say is this. People can throw at me, your club, Man United, Man United had nothing to do with Arsenal. Since beating Spurs, you've played Brighton and Crystal Palace, and both those teams, in my opinion, have played better football, dominated possession, and were unlucky not to win the game. And you are Arsenal Football Club. Arsenal Football Club. Budgets are higher, wage bills higher. These things matter to me, but I want your view and your opinion. It ain't all about me. Thank you very much, by the way, to who's the name of this individual here? Mystic T, for becoming an official squad member of the Football Terrace. We're going to go to the calls very, very soon indeed. I want your thoughts and I want your feelings in the live comment section here. James says, not good enough from Arsenal, pragmatic and lacking confidence. That's my question. I don't understand. Why every time does Arteta's teams take the lead, do they just sit back and try and absorb pressure? Or forget taking the lead, 10, 15 minutes in the first half, they're all guns blazing, and then they fall away. if they're drawing or losing at half time, they start the second half like a bull in the china shop and then sit back. The fact that whenever you put the intensity on today, you look like scoring, that would drive me absolutely insane. Beyond insane. If I'm an Arsenal fan right now, I am incensed at why are we doing that? Monster here says, I told you this guy is a bum. Big up Monster in their house. This happens every time when Arsenal play a good team with talent. They got hyped because they beat Norwich, Burnley and Spurs. Can't beat a good, I think you mean beat a good team is what Joshua's got to say. Make sure you're all smashing that like button for us this evening. Make sure you're smashing it for us. I want to go to some more of these comments here. No Zaha, and we still couldn't win. Arteta is destroying our world-class players, is what New Tide got to say here. Interesting take. I want to read. Chris says, Chris is talking to Maria Williams. Because he's talking to Maria Williams, I'm going to let him just have their little conversation between themselves. Franklin here says, Arsenal's DMs need more protection. That's a team shape issue, and it is for Arteta to fix. Outmuscled, either of them and the opposition are one-on-one with the goalkeeper, is what's been said there. Let's keep these comments coming. Trust the process, they said, and it looks like it's working. A consistent projection of mediocrity. If Arsenal had any ambition, Arteta would be sacked now, is what TGP has got to say. We're going to go to some calls. I think we're going to go to some calls here. We've got Egal backstage. We've got Samuel, Gunnar Souls, Cam, Scott, Brandon. Got the Euro expert as well, all getting ready to come on and have your say. This is how we say the Arsenal way. World-class players, hilarious, bro. Alpha Gaming says reality check for Arsenal again. And I think that's what it is. And again, no deflections here, Gooners. Oh, but this team's worse than us and your team this and my... It's not about that. We're focusing on Arsenal right now. And I just think... But this was always going to happen. And I said it was going to happen. And not because I was being bitter or horrible. I just... What I saw, you know? And I don't get everything right. I get lots of things wrong. And if Arsenal were firing on all cylinders right now, I'd be like, oh, I was wrong about that. They look great. But outplayed 2 games running by Palace and Brighton. That is not a good look at all. Right, first caller of the day that I'm getting on is going to be Scott from the Red Cannons here. We're going to be getting a gal on very, very soon as well to have you say, make sure the like button is being smashed though, people. Let's get that done. Scott's here with me now. Hi, Scott. Welcome to the terrace, mate. Give me your thoughts.
Hi, Terry. Thanks for having me on, mate. I've just come off the watch along and glorious failure, FC. Listen, like you just said before, you don't want to see your club lose and you'll always celebrate a goal. But I haven't come back off my watch and I looked here, but I probably over-celebrated. But we didn't deserve anything out of today. Let's have it right. That 2-2, Weare's got to be gutted because they were the better team. They had control. I was saying to my viewers, you know, guys, forget that you're watching a team in yellow. Forget it's Palace. We have seen this story time and time again over the last 18 months, 2 years. We start off well. There's a bit of gusto. First 10, 15 minutes, we get stuck in. We huff and pluff. And we either get something or we don't. And yet again, we get a goal and we don't kick on and get that second goal. You know, we're not putting teams to bed when we've got an opportunity. We did it against Spurs, but... Listen, they showed the players have shown what they're capable of. They showed it against Spurs. We can turn up on our day, but we're just too inconsistent. I think today a number of players were sloppy. The biggest one for me, the one that I've said quite a lot, is Partey. I think Partey, he's been found out too often. He's not playing in La Liga anymore. You know, you're not going to get that time on the ball that you used to get. Often he's getting, you know, dispossessed easily. Unfortunately today, you know, there's a couple of times, obviously the second goal that Palace got come from sloppy, you know, play. I don't think the communication's there. And obviously in the chat, and as always, Arteta out will no doubt be trending. And listen, I'm first time I've been on the show, so I'm not against Arteta leaving. If we get rid of him, fine. But a bit like your club, Terry, the issue at our club is not the manager. It comes from higher. We can get rid of Arteta. That's fine. We may improve down the line, but at the end of the day, it starts from the top down, and all the time Kroenke's at this club. We're going to see more of this, and we have done for years and years. But it's just the same old same, people will be celebrating tonight. Oh, we got something out of it. But no, for me, yes, you can go back and see my watch, and I probably jumped up, but that's just more of relief than anything. It's just, oh, thank God we didn't lose. But it's another opportunity missed. Or we'll win today. We're a point behind you. Your United fans and everybody else are bantering Arsenal off, and quite rightly so. Bottom of the league, 2 international breaks ago. A win tonight, and we're a point off the top 4. So we've got ourselves into a position where, yes, we ain't going to make top 4, but we can start, not get involved in the conversation, but at least think, well, come on, can we stick around for top 6? Because for me, that's going to be the goal. But again, we've seen this time and time again. It's the same rinse and repeat. We try, we don't get anything. The opposition grow into it. I was keeping an eye on the stats throughout the game. They right up until the end, they had a higher pass completion rate, higher. They wanted it more today. Palace, they were getting stuck in. It was just poor. It was just really, really poor. And Arteta was slow yet again to make changes. And I don't know what his issue is with Martinelli, but Martinelli. That guy, I have serious concerns about him, and that's a conversation for another day. But even when he came on, he tried to make things happen. We got the goal, but I walk away relieved we didn't lose, but we didn't deserve anything today.
Mate, listen, really great call. Really appreciate you coming on and having your say, Scott. We'll speak to you again soon. Top man, thank you.
Cheers, Terry. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. You can hear the disappointment there. And listen, of course you celebrated when that goal went in. I would have done, but you've got to look beyond that. Maybe I'm wrong. And it's not even about banter in Arsenal. It's about reality checks. I think the beast here says Giroud was berated a few years ago for celebrating against Bournemouth. Now Arsenal fans are celebrating a draw. An embarrassing performance is what's said. Next on the show, Egal is here with me to have his say. Egal, welcome back to the show, mate. Give me your thoughts, first of all, on the performance from Arsenal against Palace.
Pathetic performance, an embarrassing result. We're at home, Terry. We played like we were away from home. We played like we are the inferior football team to Crystal Palace. We played like we have less players, worse players than them. We played like we have a lack of direction at times. And overall, throughout the 90 minutes, when you look at it, the team that was hard done by this was Crystal Palace. They should have won this game. You could say in the first 45 minutes, Arsenal were hard done by refereeing decisions, where James MacArthur should have been sent off, in my opinion, clearly kicking Emil Smith-Rowe and Saka, which should have been a 2 yellows or maybe even a red for kicking Saka straight in the calf. But that at this point would just be an excuse. We got absolutely outdone the whole entire game. I don't know what to say to you. This is another situation where, as fans, we look forward to these games. We look forward after 2 weeks of an international break, looking forward to football. Personally, I miss the international break because this is going to be up and down emotional roller coaster. At least during the international break, I know that I'm not going to be emotionally distraught after games. This is gonna affect us because going forward, we drop these kind of points, Terry. We're never gonna get back into the top 4. We're never gonna get back into a European spot, and we're gonna constantly drop down lower the table because we don't take our opportunities, and that is the key of this game. We don't take our opportunities.
Egal, I know when I was saying this a few weeks ago, again, I was getting so much stick for it, and people have got to understand what the football terrace is about. It's not about having agendas; it's about having opinions. And I just felt that I understand the way you beat Tottenham left you all feeling this huge sort of adulation. The fact that so many content creators were also there and met each other. It was like this big party, but everybody on the outside was looking at it going, just calm down for 5 minutes, just for 5 minutes, because there was talk of making the top 4. There was talk of, Ben White being one of the best centre-backs, the goalie this, and the midfield that. And some of the claims can become true. But everybody saw what was going to happen. Your first game, you had the Brighton game as an example the week after, and you were just outplayed from pillar to post. Today, they actually had some finishes on the pitch, the likes of Benteke and Edouard, that put the ball in the back of the net. And probably a mistake, really, from Patrick Vieira. I think that negative move towards the end gave Arsenal an incentive to really attack. And it literally, the final kick of the game, it paid off. But it will feel, like a loss in many ways in terms of performance. You sit 12th in the league, and that's after 8 games. It's not, there's still a long, yes, you are only a handful of wins away. You're only 5 points away from being inside the top 4. But the question I want to ask you is, based on the level of performance that you've seen, like how high realistically do you see yourselves finishing this season? 5 of your 8 games you've failed to win. That even with this squad and the development, is that acceptable from Arteta? Or do you believe, because I spoke to another Gooner today that literally simply said, this system's fine. The way we play is fine. We've just got to give him better players over the next couple of transfer windows. Like, how do you look at this?
The midfield, Terry, is this midfield that currently Arsenal has is the 11th best midfield in the Premier League. When you look at the actual quality of midfield total that we have, it's not balanced. One, we don't have players that play in the right position. We don't have cohesion in our midfield. We don't have a player who can actually sit, a player that can progress, and a player that can create. All three, we don't have those. We have players that can do parts of each. We have players that have some players that have mobility, some players that have the passing ability, and some players that can do the defensive work. But we don't have any complete midfielder who can do all three in the midfield. Thomas Partey is great. Next to him, you have Granit Xhaka, who's not mobile. And then the other person you'll have is Lokonga, El Neni, who's not gifted when it comes to the attacking side of things. And then Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who is not concentrated. So until we improve our level in our midfield, which is where football matches are won, in my opinion, the battles of controlling games are won in the midfield, Arsenal Football Club will continuously be a swinging pendulum until we sort out the midfield. And people are talking about the defense. The defense is getting obliterated because of the fact that we don't have a midfield. You walk past that midfield. Literally, at certain points of the game, Terry, near the end, when we conceded that final goal, 2 balls and you're into the final third. One more ball and you take a shot. That is not a defensive issue. That is a team issue, and the team is getting bypassed in the midfield. And that's where we're going to need to fix our game. If we don't fix our midfield, we're never going to get nowhere in this season. And that's the sad part.
Man United fans say that. And the problem that I have with that take is there is no way that your midfield is worse than Palace's.
It's not as balanced, though.
I disagree. I think it's about structure. Man United fans say the same thing. We need a world-class midfield. Cool. You need a world-class midfield that's structured well to compete toe-to-toe with a world-class midfield that's structured well. When you're Arsenal or Man United with our squads, it's what I said a few weeks ago, and people are trying to pretend this doesn't exist. Our teams, but I'm going to speak about Arsenal now because it's an Arsenal view. Arsenal are outplayed and overrun by inferior teams on paper in the majority of the games they play because the manager has them in a better system and in a better structure. It's the same as Man United. Of course,
I don't disagree with you there.
And that's my point here, because I believe if Patrick Vieira starts the game with your team, he beats Crystal Palace without world-class midfielders. I understand it when you go toe-to-toe with Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, not Palace, not Brighton. You wouldn't buy how many players legit in that Brighton starting lineup from their midfield and the subs that came on would you want at Arsenal? How many at Arsenal level?
From the team that we played today?
Yeah, midfielders, how many would you want? How many would you get excited about Arsenal buying? Legit.
Only Gallagher, that's it.
Gallagher. Well, he's more of a 10. Central midfielders.
None of their central midfielders are better than our midfielders.
And that's my point, mate. I feel like fans make this excuse, not just of your club, of all clubs. If we have better midfielders, this won't happen. But you're getting outplayed by teams with worse players than yours overall.
Listen, I'll give him credit.
Issue.
I'll give him credit. Patrick Vieira watches Arsenal week in, week out. He came into this game knowing how we play, and he played his game to the T. Gave us the ball for the opening 20 minutes to see how we were going to attack. After that, the rest of the game, They knew how we were going to attack. They snuffed it out. And going forward, they knew that if they run at our defenders, we back off into our own shell. And the second goal that was conceded, Ben White and Ramsdale played a part in conceding that goal. I'll give them stick for that too. But overall, we move on. This is a terrible draw. We accept that we got the 1 point and we move on and we try to get something out of Aston Villa because we cannot continuously do this. This is getting unsustainable now. Xhaka gets injured. One injury, Terry, in our first team, and we completely get collapsed. This is ridiculous. Xhaka is that important?
No, structure, because Xhaka's not that good either. Do you know why he looks better in the Switzerland team? Because they've got a better structure of the team. So he looks better. Legitimately, sometimes you see a player in a side and go, oh, he's so good. Shinji Kagawa looked amazing for Dortmund because how they utilized him in that system, he was brilliant. He went into a Fergie team who was never as good. Why? Because we needed him to be a bit more of a free spirit because Fergie's teams weren't system orientated like that. Football was different back then. He didn't operate as well. These systems need to be well drilled. And your club, my club, a few other clubs like us, we're not. We'll get you back on with the panel, Gal. Top man. Thank you. Thoughts on the celebration from Laka? I do get the celebration. If there was 5 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go, I wouldn't want to see that. I'd want to see you grab the ball and try and win the game. But they legit knew it was the last kick. Next on the show, we're going to get a Gooner Express on to have his say. What's on your mind, mate?
Arteta leaving the club, never coming back, bro. Like this manager's he's the worst manager in the Premier League. I don't care what anyone says. I mean, Ollie's not a manager. He's just there for the vibes. So I don't really count him as a manager. But Arteta, I'm sorry, bro. Like you can say what you want about the system and we need better players. And yeah, we do need better players before we can ask for titles and stuff like that. But we had a golden opportunity to get in the top four. Beat Palace, beat Villa, you're in the top four. And he bottles it on the first hurdle. Like, how do you play so well in the 20 minutes? You're squeezing out Palace. You're not letting them get the ball. You're making them look like children. You score the goal and then we let off. We let them play how they want to play. Weare knew this was going to happen. If you look at his reaction after that goal, he said, all right, well, they're going to let us get back in the game soon anyway, so it's okay. And we did. They scored twice. I knew the minute Elise came on, they were going to score. And he was a part of that goal because he's a baller. He's a baller. He knows exactly what he's doing. He comes on and gets involved. And our players, when they come on the pitch, they're not allowed to get involved. Martinelli, when he came on, I know he only had 10 minutes, but you look at the way that he's being played. Arteta says he wants to use him as a striker, and you put him left wing. How's he gonna get better as a striker when you're not playing him as a striker? Everything he did today was wrong. Ødegaard in the 8 is blasphemous. He's not an 8, he's a 10. That's only where he should be playing. Pepe's better on the left for me, and Saka's a better right winger. He got that wrong. I think the defending for both the goals, I mean, Partey and Lokonga, you have to blame them first because you're midfielders. Your job is to keep the ball, and you didn't. You gave the ball away in the midfield. You let them attack. But Gabriel should have done better on the first. Ben White should have done better on the second. And look, I'm happy we got the draw in terms of, when you look at the game, we were going to lose. So I'm happy for Lacazette. I think the reason for me why he celebrated, it's a bit of like getting back at the manager a bit. This guy got thrown out the team. He's not getting the new contracts, blah, blah, blah. So he's celebrating the fact that he scored and that he's given the fans something to cheer about. But it's embarrassing. It is. We laughed at Tottenham for losing to Weare, and we go and get outplayed in our home. Our home. He outplays us the whole game. If you see the reaction of the Palace players after that game, they're devastated. Our players are celebrating. They're smiling. Arteta's smiling. He's smiling after a draw against Crystal Palace. Like, it's a joke. It's a joke, man. And I've been done with this manager for a long time, and it gets worse and worse every week. Like, we're not getting top four. I had some hope before this game that we might possibly do it, but not with this manager. No way.
Do you know what? Yeah, mate, I hear you completely. I really do. And, I heard all these things a few weeks back, George and Curran, nice guys, giving really articulate breakdowns of, how they perform when their best players have been available versus everybody else. And for me, it was very hard. And I'm not the smartest man in the world. I'm not the best tool in the box. But I didn't understand what they were saying. It took me... It was like, I don't understand what you mean. And if something is that complicated to understand, it can't be real in sport. What I look at is very simple. What have I seen from Arsenal? What have I seen from, all teams that I criticize? People go, oh, you're being biased because it's Arsenal. What have I said about my manager for 18 months? Solid. Not good enough. Not going to win us the big enough trophies. Now, if there's a reason for you guys to keep Arteta between now and getting rid of a manager, whether it's we wanted to help build the squad so it's ready for the next guy, whatever it is, like I don't really mind. That's a fair argument. But what I'm hearing is, no, this guy's got the possibility to be one of our greatest managers. This guy's got the possibility to win the major trophies. It's a very different narrative coming compared to that of Man United fans. Even when you listen to the likes of Neeks, they were very positive about him. It wasn't, I think he's going to become the greatest ever. It was just, for now, I'm okay with it, and we'll wait and see if there's any regression or whatnot. And I just look at Arsenal and think to myself, legit, you're not finishing in that top 6 if he stays now. These last 2 games for me have been that acid test. And, you've got a very tough game up next against Aston Villa as an example. That's going to be tough. And, suddenly we're going to be 10, 11, 12 games into this season. Aston Villa are not a bad side as an example. After that, you're away at Leicester after that. And who knows how good they're going to be. Maybe Man United made them look better than they really are. And then after that, Watford isn't too hard a game, but you suddenly start looking at it. And the thing is now, where I'll be frustrated is there's an opening for a top 4 space because Man United have been poor. And there's no, for me, outstanding team that you look at and go, they're going to... that's what I fear as a United fan, that we might still make that position because nobody else is quite good enough this season. And that's what I'd be focusing on. But look, mate, we'll get you on with the panel really soon. Top man, Gooner Express. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Next up, the Euro expert is going to be here with us to have his say. Welcome to the terrace, mate. What's on your mind?
Hello. Thanks for having me on, Terry. My mind is Palace, because obviously all the Arsenal fans are going to come in. And I thought it's an interesting parallel, really. I mean, been hearing the guys chat about Arsenal. It's very doom and gloom. Everyone looks very depressed. The comments are at war. Everyone's getting slated. And I just think, maybe calm down a little bit. Don't think Arsenal were that bad, but obviously Palace were the better team. And I was looking at the expected goals for this, not to ramble on about because it's not everyone's thing, but for those who are, Arsenal created better chances from set pieces, but from open play, Palace were ranked higher. And what I've been watching, when I was watching this game, what really came to my mind really was Palace. They lost a lot of players in the summer and they didn't take any money in. Not a lot of people realise that. They lost most of their players on freeze. And they've completely rebuilt their squad. And I think we can all agree, probably agree yourself, that Palace are the better team now, and they look completely different than last season. So I'm someone, by the way, who was watching me for the first time, I'm neutral. I have no feelings to Arteta, really. And I think he's doing a serviceable job. But for the people who say trust the process, you tend to look at Crystal Palace, right? They've already nearly completed their process, and it's been like 3 months. I feel like we've been saying trust the process for Arsenal for a very long time. So it just kind of makes you think, and hearing you speak about Ollie and the other guys about Arteta, if you brought in a manager who'd gone out and got his experience and proved he could do a job like Weare, he'd done it in New York and he'd done it in Nice, would Arsenal be in a much better position? That's not to hate on Arteta per se, but are they kind of limited themselves here? Are Palace a reflection really of them, where they've done it the proper way? Go on.
Yeah, mate, I think you can make a great point. The question is the guy that's in charge needed for the overall reach? So if they believe they need Arteta, his expertise, his knowledge about Arsenal to help build transfer policies, scout the way they want to scout, the way they want to buy things, fix cultural issues, if they need him for that, then I understand it. But if that's not what he's needed for, there are better options out there for managers. And that just for me stands out, because Palace's team, pound for pound, is not better than Arsenal's. There's on the starting lineup tonight, there's very few of these. I don't think there's a single starting player in that Palace team that an Arsenal fan, maybe, Edouard started on the left. Would any Arsenal fan swap Edouard for Saka? No. So they wouldn't swap a single player, but yet they were outplayed for large parts. That's coaching. When it comes to Man United, the way we were outplayed by Wolves, how many of their players realistically would we want? Ruben Neves probably. But they outplayed us. Why? Because they're coached better to play football. And that, for me, is a big point. And I know a lot of Arsenal fans don't want to hear it. They want Arteta to make it. But you can continue your rebuilding of this squad with a better manager and coach. Unless he is integral to the internal rebuild and he is needed from a consultative point of view, I don't see any point to Mikel Arteta.
Yeah, there's like listening to you speak, that's a great point. I didn't really think of it from the cultural perspective, but at the same time, like what you're saying there, it gives echoes of almost Lampard at Chelsea, where this is a guy who, like, I know it'd be memed, like he knows Chelsea, but he's someone who knew the club extremely well, and he was sort of about bringing a new wave of youth. And when he was sacked, there was a huge split. There was people saying, great, wonderful, and there's people saying, well, no, he was leading us somewhere. Tuchel came in, and no one is talking about it. And it's not saying there's a manager of the level of Tuchel on the market for Arsenal, but the argument is kind of what you were saying, Liv. Would they be better off not sacking him now, but like they should be planning for it? Of okay, Arteta's done a good job. He's clearly progressed Arsenal forward, but if they were to put him away and take in a proper experienced manager, someone who'd put in the hard yards like Weare, would they be in a far better place? Could they accelerate forward like Tuchel did at Chelsea?
The answer for me is absolutely yes, mate. Look, really good call, my friend. We are going to get you on soon for some of the Champions League previews and that we're doing as well, mate. Nice to meet you. And a lot of people in the audience saying you look a little bit like Ed Sheeran.
Hey,
I can see what they mean. There we go. All right, mate. I'll speak to you soon. Top man. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Going to get the panel out really soon to have their say. Before that, Dylan is here with us to have his give his views on that game today. What's on your mind, mate?
Hey, Terry. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. What's on your mind, my friend?
No, not good. I guess just speaking of what the last guy said, he seemed like a nice guy, but he said that Arteta has put Arsenal in a better position, and I beg to differ because, you know, we finished 8th twice. We're playing worse football. We can't score. We can't defend. So I don't know what's better. I don't understand how any Arsenal fan now can make justifications for Mikel, because it's just abundantly clear that it's tactics. And I got a lot of hate after the Tottenham game saying, like, don't get gassed. You know, it was one performance and, you know, it's just the moment itself, you know, the crowd, the derby, everything like that. And that's the only game that we've played good in probably 2 years. Other than that, Arsenal have not played good in 2 years. And we need to sack this guy and move on, because clubs like yourself, you're going to be looking for a manager very, very soon. And I said this to you a couple of months ago that, you know, if we don't snap up, you know, someone like a Conte or something like that, then you guys will take it and you guys can progress and potentially win the league. And we're going to be stuck here in 8th. And there's no way that our club can finish in European spots. It's just not going to happen. We player for player, we're good, but manager, shocking. Vieira's had a limited budget, 7-8 games at Palace, and already has a better style of football and an identity than what Mikel has over 2 years, 200 mil spent, and also signing 9 new contracts. So it's just simply not good enough for me.
I totally hear you, mate. And what's next, though? Like, I mean, it doesn't feel like at this point he's going to be sacked. What are your expectations for the remainder of the season if he remains in the position?
There's none. It's literally just like today. You just pray and hope that you can do something. I was speaking to a gull at halftime, and he was saying, you know, we did okay. And I said to him, I said, Palace are going to win this game 2-1. And obviously they nearly did. It's very unlucky, and Vieira's going to do well with them. But expectations for the season, I said this at the start of the season, we're going to be lucky to get 10th, to be honest. I can't see us finishing top 8. And that's sad. Like the way we've fallen, and clubs like Newcastle coming up now, and the amount of clubs that can potentially still be bought, and they're all going to progress in front of us. You know,
mate,
legacy and history only last a little while. So,
mate, I hear what you're saying. I feel what you're saying, mate. Stay backstage for me, mate. We'll get you back on soon. Top man. Thank you. Next up on the show, Cam is here. I know he's going to have a lot to say. Cam, what you saying, brother?
Well, go on, man. Long time, man.
Exactly. I mean, terrible performance. Got away with it slightly with the draw, but give me your thoughts, mate.
No, I'm not having it no more. Yeah, I listen. I've been off doing like not really been doing too many podcasts lately, because obviously, you know, I've got family stuff going on right now and all that.
Yes,
but I've obviously been watching them from the background and all that, and I can't be asked anymore, man. Any of these Arteta sexuals that still believe in this absolute. I don't know if we can swear or not, bro. I don't know how prestige your channel is now, like, because obviously I know you've been doing all the.
You can swear, but none of the real bad words.
So can I say prick?
Yep, fine.
All right, cool. With this prick, this fraud, bruv. Look, I've been saying it since the day he came in. I was happy when he came in because I thought, all right, he can't do much worse than Emery. But I saw it. Defensively, we got better. Attackively, we got shit. And we've been like that ever since this guy has taken over. But now our defensive fatalities are now coming into play. I hear what Egal said about the midfield. It's not just about the midfield. At the end of the day, yeah, I can't be arsed with it. If you give a Conte or someone that fucking squad, they're gonna do that squad, yeah, they're gonna do a lot better, because it's now every single game we've seen it. First 10, 15 minutes, and obviously we've heard a lot of people say it. First 10, 15 minutes, boom, we're out of the run. We like, you know, the trap dogs, bruv. Like no one can stop us. Yeah. And then as soon as we either get a goal or after 20 minutes, we then drop off. And I've been saying it every game, every single game. I watch us and I'm like, where's the intensity gone? After 20 minutes, I'm like, where's the intensity gone? Where's the intensity gone? And I agree with my man just before, like the only good game I've actually seen us play was Spurs in the last 2 years under this guy. I've not actually seen a game where I'm like, yeah, what, yo, we absolutely smashed them. Yo, not like it was never one of them. And I can't be asked anymore. Like I said, man, all these Arteta sexuals need to realize this guy's tactics are frauded, bro. This guy cannot manage a football club. I don't want to hear it no more, bro. This guy is dead food. He's fish food, bro. He's the little flakes, bro, that you give your goldfish, fam. Like that's how dead his food is, bro. Like you have to come. Sorry, Terry, I will let you speak in a minute, yeah. But you have to sit there and actually come to realize this is every game now. It's every single game. It's the same dead ass, boring ass tactics that we can never seem to perfect, because we always get caught out in position. Today was a perfect example. I mean, big up Weare. I mean, big up on the flip side. I mean, Crystal Palace. They were on smoke today.
Mate, no, listen, I totally get where you're coming from, mate. And it's just, you know, get it out. That's what the terrace is here for. Cam, really appreciate you coming on and having your say, mate. I really, really do. Look after yourself, brother, and your family. And I'll speak to you soon. Top, man. Thank you. Next up on the show, Brandon's here with us. What you saying, mate? You're on mute, my friend. You're on mute, brother. You're on mute. There we go.
Nah, I just come to check in, mate, to see what the Arsenal fans were saying and whether the reality slapped them in the face just yet. And I'm quite surprised, Terry. I haven't heard any of the excuses that you normally hear. You know, like the MacArthur challenge on Saka and all this bollocks. The reality is this football club is dead and buried in the water. And if you want to know where the expectations lie within the football club and the standards, just look at Mikel Arteta on that last as the camera panned over to him when that last goal went in, celebrating a draw at home. You know, that is the standards nowadays. It's a joke, an absolute joke. And as Cam just said, it's dead tactics, week in, week out. You know, first 15 minutes, I thought we did all right. I thought we was quite intense in our play. Aubameyang was chasing people down. And then it just disappeared, you know? And for me, it's a story of the manager that we did get versus the manager that we should have got. Because if we was going to go down that young manager route, Patrick Vieira should have been the man. He had the experience. You should have got him in. And, you know, as one of the previous callers has already said as well, he's miles better than Arteta already. You can see his style of play. You can see, you know, what he's trying to do there at Crystal Palace. What can you see from Arsenal in 2 years? Let's not forget, Crystal Palace did not have Zaha today. They did not have Eze, two of their best players. We allowed Benteke to score against us, a player who hasn't scored in 7 games, and we just roll out the red carpet for him. You know, Ben White, he has to be the worst summer signing when you look at value for money this summer. And probably in the past couple of seasons, he has to be the worst, because I've been told that guy is supposedly good at playing from out the back, you know, good at with the ball at his feet. The guy gives it away 95% of the time. He's no good in the air at heading balls. I'm starting to question: is it because of the weight of the badge that he's wearing on his chest? Because I never really saw this from him at Brighton. Is it just because he hasn't got the experience next to him, or is it just because he's absolute dog shit? And at the end of the day, Terry, every single player that played today on that pitch that started that game is a Mikel Arteta player. Either he signed them to a new contract or he has purchased them. There are no more excuses. This guy has to go. It's as simple as that. If he doesn't go, we will not get in the top 10 this season. Mark my words.
Brandon, big words there, mate. Thank you very much for coming on and having your say. We'll speak to you again soon. Thank you very much, my man. Thank you. Next up, Tom is with us. Then the panel is coming out. Panel's got Sam, Egal, Dylan, Express, Man Like Show Star, all going to be coming on to have their say. But young Tom's here with us now. What do you want to say, mate?
Hey, Terry, you right, mate?
I'm very well. How about you, though? You're a Gooner. I know you don't like Arteta. Give me your thoughts, mate.
I was watching the game with my dad. I thought we were lucky with a point. Not good enough. Not good enough. Tommy Arsu, love the guy. Got ripped apart today. First time he got ripped apart. Smith Rowe, poor. Partey, poor. That back pass. Ben White. Ben Shite. Never wanted him in the first place. Not good enough. And Ramsdale, he played well. Made some wonderful saves. I felt sorry for Patrick Weare, my legend. He was on his knees. They should have won the game. We were lucky to get away with a point. We weren't that great. Lacazette saved us a point. He saved us a point. We were not good enough. Like what Cam says, dead tactics. Arteta's got to go. I keep saying to people, I don't accept mediocrity. I do not rate this manager at all. He's celebrating the point. When Lacazette got us a point, I was just folding my arms. I'm just not bothered anymore because we're going backwards. We're 12th in the league, and I can see Aston Villa beating us on Friday. I can see Leicester are absolutely going to turn us over. Vardy, Maddison, Patson Daka against Ben Shite. They are going to turn us over. Watford will probably edge them. Liverpool going to Anfield. It's going to be a 5-1, another 5-1 again. We're going to get absolutely embarrassed by them. We don't do well at Anfield. I can't even see us getting a point. It's just poor performance yet again. I keep saying to people, stop accepting mediocrity. Arteta is out of his depth. He's not good enough. Wake up and smell the coffee. He's taking us backwards. There's no style of play. What's his tactics? What's his style of play? Me and my dad, we hate watching this shit.
His style of play is this pattern. I don't know what it's called. It hasn't got a name. You come out, generally speaking, barring when you play the big boys, you come out the starting blocks fast. You either score, as soon as you score, you sit back, or you last about 20 to 25 minutes, and then you sit back, and then you absorb, and you barely counterattack. At the start of the second, 1 sec, mate. At the start of the second half, if you're losing or drawing, you come out fast again. If you're winning, you just sit back and you absorb. The only time you really attack again is occasionally on the counter or if you can see the goal. That's how you play football. And I've been asking Gooner this question for a while, and I want to pose it to you. Even with better players, so better strikers holding the ball up, the younger players being more experienced, do you think this style of play is sustainable and will get you back into the top 4 and eventually challenging for titles? That's the question I've got. Will it work?
Nope, not with this manager. Like Conte, Zidane, Mancini, Poch, Ten Hag, we'll be getting top 6 with those type of managers I mentioned. Ancelotti as well. We'll be getting top 6 because my dad was saying to me, "Why are we sitting back at home? Why are we sitting back?" I said to my dad, "I don't know. I'm thinking we're sitting back against a good Crystal Palace team, and they absorbed the pressure. I'm thinking, why are we sitting back? What's this? This manager is ruining my team. I've been an Arsenal fan since 2001. 20 years. He's ruined, and this is the." Wenger never played like this. Emery never played like this. This Pep Guardiola's homeboy is playing. I'm thinking, why are we sitting back? I'm not happy with this again. This football club is falling apart again. I'm not happy with this. And
Mate, Tom, I totally hear you on that, mate. I hear the frustration in your voice, mate. I really appreciate you coming on and having your say and supporting the terrace the way you do. Tom, top man, speak to you again soon. Thank you very much indeed. It's time for the panel to come on, ladies and gentlemen. We had a member chat, super chat that came through from Dave that says, Arteta and Ollie just not up to it. And that's the point. And that is the point when it comes to this, you know. It's just listening to Tom, you can just hear the frustration. Him and his dad watching the game together, not understanding what and how and why. You then see a team like Palace very quickly have an identity and play football well. The way Graham Potter's teams play. You know, the way Wolverhampton Wanderers are playing this season. It makes sense. Now, I ask this question because the situation at every club is different. Unless I've been told by some Gooners, and we're going to go into this question next with the panel when they come on, that this is the first ever full rebuild since the Emirates opened. Full rebuild as in backroom staff, policies, processes, culture. I'm kind of using buzzwords, but you get the drift, right? If Arteta is not needed for any of, say it's true, just say it's true, hypothetically, for argument's sake, unless Arteta's needed for the internal elements, what's his function? If he's not needed for that, any manager can do what he's doing. Or unless I'm missing something. Again, people think I'm hating. It's the question. Panel's coming on now to have their say. Make sure you've hit that like button, please. Let's get it past 500 likes. Let's do this. Evening, gents. How you all doing? How you all doing? Well, especially Sam and Shirley haven't spoke yet.
Awfully.
Yeah. And I get it. Listen, boys, I do know the feeling. I feel like the only thing me up this weekend as well. To be honest, like I'm joking. Like I see it, I feel it, and I want to ask that question I just posed a few moments ago. Like with Man United, the reason why I wasn't fervent months ago on Ollie has to go now is what I was being told by a journalist and what I saw is that there was elements of Ollie that were needed to get Man United behind the scenes back. And the reason I thought he was important is because he knew the club inside out and he was, you know, he's a legend of the football club. However, never believed he was ever a good enough manager. And I think we're now at a point where this team and squad are ready to win. My question is Arteta needed in that same way? Is he needed to rebuild this squad to sort of prepare it for the next guy? Is he being used internally for this first rebuild since the Emirates opened as in sort of a consultative way? Is that actually happening, or are Arsenal fans that have told me that, are they lying to me?
They're lying to you,
lying.
Because you think about it like this, yeah, they're straight lying to you. I'll tell you the reason why is because De Bruyne has never done a job like this in his life.
Exactly.
Like he's never done it. Like there's no way you can look at such an inexperienced guy to do such a big job, let alone a friggin' rebuild, bruv. Like we're all looking at these man here, yeah. Like I'm sorry, like Weare, he knew what to do today. He actually did, and I feel so sorry for him for not winning the game, you know.
Yeah,
because he absolutely done us today. He out-tactics us. And then I think what he done is he sat back too early. He shouldn't have done that so early. He should have continued playing his game for the rest of the game. You know, like,
can I say something after that as well? Look, listen, Weare came in July, right? He came in July. Mikel Arteta came in 2 years ago. Look at the difference in quality of football. Patrick Weare has had one transfer window. Basically, the same players that Roy Hodgson had, where they were scrapping for relegation, and he's up playing Arsenal, playing better football than Arsenal, above Arsenal.
We're at home at the Emirates, bro. Are you okay? Like we all heard how up for it the fans were at the beginning. You know, they gave him a nice reception. Like every pass we was doing, it was getting cheered in the first 10. We was doing good. We was really doing good. And then for somehow, I have no idea, but these guys just decide. Sorry, Terry, I know you said like only specific swear words and that, but they actually decided to shit the bed, bro, with no nappy, bro. Like I don't know what are these man doing, bro.
Shucks. The issue, is when you have a manager who has a losing mentality, and I've just literally read one of the quotes from his press conference, and I swear to God, like he literally said. In terms of what went wrong, he basically said we had something, as in the goal, and we wanted to protect it instead of going for a second. Are you taking the piss?
8 minutes in,
like, bro, this guy 8 minutes in, he basically said for the next 82 minutes we're going to sit back and defend. And the worst thing is, right? We all remember that famous clip that Thierry Henry did when I forgot the Spurs guy's name. It began with a Z. Yeah? When he celebrated the draw, Henry did a clip years later and basically commentated on that and said, "Celebrating a draw at home, like what are you? Like you're a loser." Arteta's celebrating a draw at home. He's a loser.
And do you know
He's celebrating his job.
Loser.
Do you know what's crazy about it? Again, I understand as a Man United fan doing what I do. You know, the Football Terrace is a kind of unique channel in the sense of it isn't like we're an Arsenal channel or a United channel that does one show a week that's neutral. Does that make sense? Some channels, most channels do that now. It's a neutral channel, which is hard sometimes. But I remember I knew this was coming because I thought Arsenal did well in the 3 games they won. Well, overall, not amazing in the first 2 games. Smash Spurs did great. It was that Monday morning. I kind of got up and I was reading the papers and I was reading socials, and it was from respected creators and journalists who were like, I was wrong to doubt Arteta, and this is the reason why. As soon as I saw that, you know, like boys, you know, like if you're on a date for a first time, right? Oh, a better one. I get when you really see it. Men don't see red flags too well. You know, when you've got a friend who's a girl, and she tells you about a guy, and she says something, and it's like, woo! You're like, don't. You're like, woo! It's like that's that feeling. As soon as I saw that, I was like, Arsenal fans are lying. It felt like you are lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. You've caught your girlfriend cheating, but you're making it's because
accepting mediocrity.
I haven't been doing the dishes, and that's why she went out for a ride in the BM. Do you know what I mean?
International break though, it gasses us though, man, because you miss football so much, and you think,
I did miss
wait for Arsenal.
Shocks. Can we go back to international break? Can we go back?
Oh, please, I beg.
I want to ask you, Gal here. I need to ask you, Gal here. I need to ask you because you know, not just me, but there were a number of Arsenal fans who got a lot of crap on socials after the Spurs win by saying, "Can everyone not celebrate, but calm down a little bit?" And I have to be blunt with you, bro. You were one of them guys who kind of got, for me, for a very small period of time, a little bit indoctrinated by the noise. You, Gunnar Souls, I love you both dearly, but you turned into different people. And I always said this. I said it on the Friday night show. You guys went to the Emirates on that Sunday. Harry Potter did some magic shit, something, because you all came back. You know, you remember in whatever film it was when they eat the love sweets, and then it's like that you were given some love potion because the way your minds were when you all came back. Me and KJ phoned each other a few times, going, "What's happened?" We were scared to speak loudly in case you were listening. It was like, what happened? Why? Where's this? It was overt positivity that was beyond celebrating. And I'm not asking, I am asking, do you regret being that positive now?
Listen, when you have 3 games of the Premier League season where you lose every single game and you see an outstanding performance like we did against Tottenham, you have something in front of you tangible to say, you know what, there's evidence that we might be improving. So at the time, we were right to say what we said. Looking now, you can say, maybe it was premature. But at the time, everyone was well in their right to say, hey, there's.
But none of those performances were good, Agal.
Right now.
Not now, but except Tottenham. But the other
right now, let me say this. This is 4 games that we've started that we're going to be going on to until the next international break. The first one's a draw. If we go on to lose a couple more and draw, we're going to look back at this game and we're going to be like, this was the beginning of the downfall.
No, Egal, listen.
Right?
2 years was the downfall.
I'm already
if we go on to win, one second. If we go on to win against Aston Villa, because we all know this Arsenal team is hot and cold. We are very hot and cold. Today we got a jammy goal for the first goal. I don't think we even deserved the Lacazette goal at the end. That was a jammy goal. We got a lucky draw. This was a pathetic performance. No one should be celebrating this draw. Everyone should go in and say, you know what, this was a terrible performance from beginning to end. And going into Aston Villa game, we need to see major changes throughout the team. I personally think, you know what, I've been saying it all year, Lacazette deserves to be on the bench. I think Arteta, start him. Do what you have to do to get as much goals into this team as possible, because at this point, we don't have goals. We need goals in this team. We can get clean sheets. We can defend for 90 minutes. But if we are not creating anything and we don't have the people to actually finish the chances. And also, Pepe. I love Pepe. I love Smith Rowe. I love Saka, but they don't score enough goals. And we need more
Pepe's crap, bro.
Do
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but hold on. When you say that,
sorry, Terry, I flipped the whole question. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I want to say this though. I understand you're hot and cold and things can change, but it's when I see the disrespect that Jess took on Wednesday last week from so many Gooners, calling her negative because she said 5 to 7 points out of our next 4 games.
She's been real.
She was being real, but she got a lot of crap for that. And I'm like, this is a team in your last 46 Premier League games. You failed to win 25 of them.
That's mad.
So this whole thing of, I get being positive as best you can be, but you cannot predict Arsenal's next 5 games without the distinct possibility of at least half of them you dropping points in, or 6 games without half of them you dropping points in, because your whole body of work suggests that happens. The only time you can start predicting above that is when there is a body of work and evidence that you can win 60, 70, 80% of your games. People are talking that we've turned the corner. Before, you don't know you've turned the corner until you pass the corner. That's the point. You don't know you're around the bend until you're around the bend. And you have 1 or 2 good performances and it's like, we're there. And sometimes I think to myself, have these people actually been watching football for more than 2 or 3 years? Is it a new thing for them? Because I've been watching it for I haven't been watching it 35 years. I'm a liar. I've been watching it intently since I was about 10 years old. Before that, you kind of flick and choose between it. Since I was 10, I've got full-on memories from being around 10 years old of watching it all season long. So 25 years. It takes a long time to build up the confidence. When you're Liverpool, when you're City, when you're Chelsea right now, they're the only 3 teams in the Prem who I think if they go, I can really see us winning our next 5 games, I'd go, that makes sense. But look at the history of Premier League football. Go and check how many teams regularly have won more than 5 or 6 games on the bounce. It's a rarity. So to sit there and say a team that legitimately has lost or drawn 25 of its last 46 games, to predict 4 wins on the bounce, you're predicting you're going to, I know the lottery numbers as well. It's a madness prediction. It's beyond stupidity, in my opinion.
One of the recent games we've played, right?
One second, but we can't have it 2 ways.
Wait. Listen, if we look at the previous 5 performances, right, the Brighton and Palace game today are actual signs of where we are right now, all right? The Tottenham, Burnley, and Norwich game, they were marauders, all right? We should be beating those teams easily.
We never even played good.
We didn't play good in those other 2 games.
We never even played good. Exactly. Only Tottenham we played good.
Yep. So the Brighton game and the Palace game is where we actually are as a club right now, as a team. And we're nowhere near good enough to challenge for the top 10. That's shown for tonight.
Egal, you said you can't have it both ways. What did you mean, mate?
Okay, so we can't say at the same breath, we have levels and standards, and this is why Arsenal should be doing this. But then at the same time, when we say, oh, we're predicting that we should be winning at home against Crystal Palace, be winning at home against Aston Villa, be winning at home against Watford. That's where I'm coming from.
Okay.
When it comes to making that prediction beforehand.
So that's
we
a
should
great
be
point.
Beating those teams.
So
I would add to that as well.
Yeah, you should be beating them teams, but you're not, and that's what the problem is. If you were losing to those teams, but week in, week out, normally you were better than them, it's that's crap. But we'll come again next week. Liverpool dropping points to Brentford is annoying, but they know they're going to be good again the next week.
Listen,
i.e., look what they did to Watford.
I'm not making excuses.
I know you're not making excuses. I'm saying the difference. Man United and Arsenal, we're both in the same category. We should be getting outplayed and beaten less by the smaller clubs than we do.
Yeah,
It's always happened since day dot in football that the best teams have been beaten by the lesser or worse or smaller teams, whichever phrase people want to use. It's the frequency that Arsenal are outplayed and beaten that the problem is. With what you spend on transfer fees and salary, you should be. I'll give you an example. A lot of Arsenal fans go, but we can't compete with Man City. You do realize that everybody else outside the so-called Big Six can't compete with Arsenal financially. The difference between you and Palace financially is the same as you and City. That's why you should be beating them. But the reality is, Palace and Wolves and Brighton and Leicester, and I'm just naming a few, are better run football clubs and play better football. So your predictions should be based on reality. Your frustrations and your direction towards the club should be based on where you want to be. Those two things are not the same. They should be ring-fenced. I hear Arsenal fans predicting things based on what they want to happen. That's mad. Predicting what you think.
I can't lie. I fall into that category. Because the way I predict is, again, I'm not stupid enough to not realize that we can't. We've got every possibility of losing every single game. Like we do, right? But what I expect. So I remember when you put that question across to Jess earlier, and then she obviously gave her prediction, I was literally on all of the fan channels, in all of the spaces that we've been to, and all of them kind of things that I predicted. maximum points. I said that I expect a win from all of them because genuinely, Terry, as an Arsenal fan, it's what I expect. However, I do know that there's a very, very high possibility that we could possibly lose all of them. All of them.
And there's only one reason for that, Shocks, and that's the manager. If you're trying to tell me, I'm sorry, this squad on paper is easily good enough to beat this Palace team. And like Terry said, if you look at that Palace team today, compare the starting 11s, I could probably pick maybe one player from Palace that I'd replace with Arsenal, maybe not even one. So all these people, and I'm bored of this narrative that we need more players and more money. Like, you're making excuses for this manager, right? This manager has his 11 now. It's not perfect. Obviously, he doesn't have a Haaland and an Mbappe and a Ronaldo and a Lewandowski, but no manager's realistically going to get that at Arsenal. You've got what you wanted. You've got the money. You've been given the backing that Emery didn't fully receive, that Wenger didn't even receive at the later stages of his time at Arsenal. And you're failing. You are failing. You are a loser. I'm sorry, Arteta is a loser. His mentality is that of a loser. You celebrate a draw. You talk about wanting to like, bro, he wants to defend a 1-0 lead for 82 minutes at home against Palace. This guy is a loser. He's a loser. And I'm sorry. One last thing I'll say, Samuel, before you go, bro, is this, bro, yeah? As I said, this team is good enough to beat Palace. It's good enough to beat Watford. It's good enough to beat the way that Leicester are playing right now. Obviously, depending on what happens in Man United, that result is different. But it's good enough to beat Villa, I'd say, as well, in terms of, again, when you compare the teams. But we're not. We're not going to beat Villa.
Let me ask you this.
I bet we don't beat Watford. I bet we don't beat Leicester. Any fan that genuinely wants to sit here and being Arteta is fine. But if you want to sit here and tell me that he's the perfect option, that he is the best manager, because people are still today telling me he is the best option that Arsenal can have right now. You're talking shit. Respectfully,
you want to know the reality of the situation, guys? Let's talk about 1 second.
Sorry. Go on, Gal.
Let's talk about what we can actually fix. Arteta is not going nowhere at the moment. As fans, we know that the club is not sacking him. So what can we actually fix that's tangible going into the next game? I'm looking at the team.
Egal, you stop going to games.
1 second. I'm looking at the team and I'm saying Lokonga has not worked in the midfield lately. They're going without Lokonga and going with single Thomas Partey sitting behind Odegaard and Smith Rowe has not worked in this game. And even against Burnley, we got lucky that we got that win. So if we're going to go forward, we need to solve who is going to be playing in that midfield pivot or that sole midfield role. That is the biggest issue at hand.
The answer is something you don't want to hear. You bring Guendouzi back. That's the answer. You bring Guendouzi and you bring William Saliba back. I'm sorry, but Shocks. This is the thing, yeah. You say this, and that's fine. I get the whole thing with the Guendouzi and whatever else. But I'm sorry, I'm not even just saying this for banter now, right? Guendouzi has been impeccable at Marseille. He was the captain yesterday, scored twice, got an assist, and his stats as well. I'm not particularly a stat man, yeah, but his stats were something to look at and think, wow, that is impressive,
I was
right?
Impressed.
The way Egal was impressed at looking at those stats, right? William Saliba has been good the minute he's got to Marseille, right? Whereas Ben White has been shaky, whereas Lokonga has been shaky, Partey has been shaky, whereas these two players have gone to Marseille, performed incredibly under a better manager, right? Guendouzi, this whole attitude thing, for me, I don't believe it at all. But take away the managerial, the attitude issues. If you're a good enough manager who can manage a player and see the quality that Guendouzi has, you will put your arm around him like Sampaoli has done, and you will turn him into a beast. And Arteta does not have the skills to do that. So he gets rid of him to save himself from embarrassment when he fails the Guendouzi project. Guendouzi, for me, walks into the midfield right now. I don't care. That's the way I see it. Saliba walks into the defence over Ben White, and that improves the team instantly. But again, Arteta's mentality is not.
Guys, one at a time. I think it's a good point. Because we haven't got too much long left on the show, and I want to ask a question here. I want to go to Dylan first on this. I want to ask about Thomas Partey, because I still don't necessarily think we've seen the very best of him. The player that everybody spoke about at Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the dominant midfield performances. I haven't seen him kind of boss those areas too regularly. Doesn't really score yet. Made the mistake today. Is he all that? Is he as good as for you as an Arsenal fan? Has he been as good as you expected him to be?
For me, he personally hasn't. Like the person and the player that he is, he's exceptional. But you got to understand, like this guy came from Diego Simeone, a defensive master, to some fraud that leaves him alone in midfield. So you can't really compare apples with apples. You know, he has had bad injuries and stuff. I'm not going to make excuses or anything like that. He's a good player, but he hasn't been good enough. He's been sloppy on the ball. The guy hits rosette every time he takes a shot.
No, not today, man. Yeah, he's improved somehow. Like they were a lot closer.
Those shots were still bad. They were still so bad, man.
Bro, yeah, but like to me, he's been underperforming. But that also comes down to the lack of recruitment around him. What do you want him to do when he's got what do you call it? Like Granit Xhaka sitting next to him, who's useless, or whoever's in there. Like today, he was left by himself for half the games. So far this season.
Granit Xhaka's useless. Don't say Granit Xhaka's useless.
No, man, stop this.
Don't say Granit Xhaka's useless.
Bro, you need good people around you.
Bro, let me tell you something. Yeah, it's not a personnel issue at this point now. Yeah, because I'm telling you for a fact. Yeah,
it's managerial.
It's managerial.
It is managerial, but I'm just saying it's choices in the players you bring in as well.
In the 75th minute, yeah. I saw it literally, yeah. Palace had now stuck all 11 men behind the ball now, yeah. We're literally in their half at like the center circle, and there was a penetrating pass there. There was a few because the players in front were still moving about and stuff like that, yeah. Literally, I saw them. They just looked like they were just clueless, and they ended up just passing it back. They kept passing it. I don't know if you lot actually was listening to the game with the volume, but the Emirates crowd was going mad. They were they were going absolutely mad. Saying pass forward.
Bro,
that is managerial right there. I'm looking at
how bad we are. Can I show you how bad we are before we?
Yeah.
The last time it's been 4 seasons since we beat Crystal Palace at home. 4 seasons.
Jesus Christ.
January 2018.
Man. Do you know what's mad about? I gave you that stat before, but I just tweeted the full stat. I don't think you guys have seen it. So you have failed to win 25 of your last 46 Premier League games. Arsenal have failed to win 15 of your last 23 home Premier League games.
Lord.
That's incredible, man.
Do you see what I mean?
And the thing is, I ask about the Thomas Partey thing because you've got a lot of talented players on your side. There's no doubt you do. And I think Thomas Partey is very good. I know that you guys are not too keen. Some of you are not too keen on Ben White. I think there's talent in there. Tierney's talented as an example. You got some talented players, and it's like.
But look at Tierney now. That's why I was going. He was crap today, man.
Horrible.
And that's not like him.
And I want to get Egal's opinion on Partey because he isn't performing well. Is that because he isn't good enough for the Prem, or is that because your manager can't get the best out of him system-wise? What do you put it down to, mate?
I honestly think when you look around Thomas Partey, he doesn't have anyone that actually suits the attributes of a balanced midfielder next to him. We have players who can do certain things that might complement him, like Xhaka with the passing range, Lokonga with the energy. You have El Neni with the energy and defensive capabilities, and Ainsley Maitland-Niles with the energy, but neither of them have the full package next to him. And I feel like we're asking Thomas Partey to be a one-man midfielder, and he's not that guy. He's not Patrick Weare. He's not these guys who can be a one-man midfield. He's not. Even Conte could hold a midfield together to a certain degree by himself with less experienced players around him. Thomas Partey is not capable of doing that at the moment. He might be able to be nurtured more into that position, but you also need a top manager to not leave him out to dry. And I do see that the midfield and the way that we're setting up the midfield sets him up for failure, in my opinion.
And that was straight will tell you there that it's an instruction thing. Like I think Thomas Partey has the attributes to be a really, really top midfielder. We saw it in his Atletico days. Like, do you know what I mean? We've seen this guy shoot for Ghana, and like after we've seen like bare different things just happen, like in terms of what Thomas Partey can add. We're now seeing a lot of excellent players that have come from, doing good things in other teams and in other leagues and stuff like that. They're coming and they're diminishing. They're getting worse. This is why I wanted to actually bring up the Tierney thing, because we all saw what Kieran Tierney was. This season, the guy has not done anything. He's actually, I've said it after a few games. I remember I came on the terrace after after one of the games where we won, and I actually came out and I said, you know what? I know we won, But Tierney's starting to concern me a little bit because you can even see it in his body language. He looks like he doesn't give a shit anymore. Well, that's not Tierney, bruv. Like Tierney's always been that guy that he gives 110% always in every single game. And it's getting a bit weird now.
Shucks. Shucks. The thing with Tierney, he come from Celtic where they won every game. They won trophies, everything, yeah. He's now coming to a team where losing and celebrating a draw is a common thing. You think Tierney is going to celebrate any type of draw?
Fact.
No,
he's been
that's
Arsenal.
That's not him,
guys.
That's not him. No, I don't think he's been arsehole. I think he's sick of it now. I think he's kind of to the point where he's just like, I'm just going to sit in on my money because you lot don't care. You want to celebrate your draws and don't want to win. I do, and I'll just earn the money because right now no one's going to pay for me because I'm not on form. So I'll just sit here, earn my money until we hopefully get a new manager. That's my opinion.
One second. You're pointing out Tierney, but you do realize Tomiyasu was much poorer than him.
Tomiyasu was very poor as well.
Yeah, but we have a high standard for Tierney.
But what I'm trying to say is, though, with Tierney, like even when our whole team was doing crap, Tierney was probably the only one that could always still put out a 7 out of 10. We even look, and again, we look at the decline of Aubameyang as well. I've always said it. Whatever's going on with him, it's not physical, it's mental. Which means that it's something being put into his head. Like he's being coached wrong. Like the whole tactics of the whole. Listen.
I think Odegaard.
Odegaard was absolutely atrocious again today. But the thing with it is though, like, and I addressed Egal on this is like whenever I hear you speak about things that what can we change now, why Partey or this play, everyone's playing wrong. It's always managerial, tactical, but yet. Very rarely is the blame on the manager. And this is the thing when it comes to like my football club, like we don't have the excuses of not having a good enough squad anymore. And that's one of the reasons why it was more of a personal choice around. I'd rather him stay till we've got a squad good enough to win. And then we get our actual answer as to whether or not this guy is good enough. But
Arteta's doing one thing right, Terry.
What's that?
Similar to what Ollie's doing. He's raising the level of the squad. It might not be because of him only, but the level of the squad is improving slightly.
So what do you mean by the level of the squad?
Yeah. So my question to you would be this: is Ollie isn't responsible for the signing of the players, but he was massively instrumental in building how we profile players, the individuals that are needed, the type of mentality that's needed, and how the club should operate. Now, some Man United fans don't care about that, and they still want him out, and that's fine. Is Arteta integral internally in that way? Is he making those consultative inputs that are changing the way the club's structured internally? Because if he's not, then you don't need him to build this squad.
Can I just say, yes, in a sense, Terry. Yeah, go on, bro.
No, I was just gonna say, like, but you sort of,
and I go,
go.
I one thing I've got to say is, listen, this club ain't gonna go anywhere forward or progress unless we get rid of this manager. And you look at Chelsea last week under Frank Lampard, where he was holding them back. They got rid of him, and look where Chelsea are now. I mean, there's no more excuses for Mikel Arteta and his fanboys can make, right? He had the most back in the summer, over £150 million spent, and we're still stuck in the bottom half of the table. So right now, let's not overlook 3 games against piss poor teams like Norwich, Burnley, and Tottenham. Listen, this is where we are right now. The reality is we're not good enough. But thanks, everyone.
Cheers, Sam. No worries.
Samuel, man.
What you saying, Dil?
I was just going to say, you sort of mentioned at the start of the stream or when we started getting on the panel here about like the whole restructure process. And when Wenger left, Wenger was the manager, we did the restructure to just like a coach only, you bring in your Edu or wherever there was at the time. I can't even remember who was there at the time. We've had so many people swap over, but that's all changed. And now we're back to having a manager again with Mikel. He went from coach to manager and he does have that influence and that say. So he's the one at the end of the day making all these decisions with Edu, and the sword, he falls on the sword himself. There's been multiple changeovers and processes and whatever it is. It's the same process. Like end of the day, it does come to the owners, but we know the owners aren't leaving. So the manager has to go.
Fair enough. There's some interesting news that just broke. It's nothing to do with Arsenal per se. But it's reported that Newcastle have had a number of sponsorship deals blocked by the Premier League after an emergency meeting was called on Monday. All I'm going to say to the viewers is stop listening to the journalists and listen to the financial experts.
Yeah.
No, I'm not calling myself a financial expert on these matters, but that's who I got my information from. And they all predicted this. What Newcastle cannot do is suddenly be sponsored £800 million by a company that only turns over £400 million a year or something mad like that. Equally, Newcastle will not be able to, in an expert's opinion, be able to have a bigger shirt sponsor than Man United, because it's not within market value. It doesn't make sense for anybody to invest more money into that because it isn't seen by as many people. So, like I've told everyone, 5 to 10 years, it's going to take time for Newcastle. They may get some of these deals through. I'm just saying it's been blocked as it stands right now. Everybody was like, no, they're going to spend £400-500 million a summer. They're not. It's impossible. It actually is impossible. The club only turns over £180 million a year, so they can't spend 300 or 400 million. It's impossible. The owners can only pump £90 million circular in over a 3-year period. But we'll do some more on that tomorrow morning. Sazar here says title-winning defense.
Okay, let me speak on this. Let me speak on this. No. Stop right there. Everyone stop laughing. Everyone stop laughing. Listen, seriously. I did not say that this is a title-winning defense now. I said potentially you have a bunch of young players that if they grow together, it can be. And at the end of the day, I stand by that. We still have a young core of defenders that are good. And I included Saliba in that, Gundu. So don't act like I'm just talking absolute nonsense.
You do realize if Arteta stays, Saliba's
he's never playing for Arsenal.
Listen, hey, Gunduzi's pretty much gone. I don't know why you're talking about Gunduzi either.
Hang on.
He's on loan, bro.
Hang on.
Gunduzi's gone.
Hang on.
He literally has a loan option.
Egal. He's speaking about Guendouzi because your question was what could we do now, and that's what Gooner expressed.
Bring him back offline.
This is not that point I made earlier. Hang on, you might be able to
cancel it. You got to pay it out.
Yeah, like
they have an option to buy. They trigger that.
Hang on, Egal. Wait, you're doing that thing where you're confusing what is going to happen and what a fan would want to happen. They're different things. And my point, that's all I'm saying, bruv. Like on Saliba. Like if 3 years they ain't played to kick the ball, like there's just no way.
You want to know the reality of the situation? The reality of the situation is Kieran Tierney is still rated as one of the best left backs. Yes, he's had bad games the past couple of days. It's because we have high standards for him. Tomiyasu has been a good signing so far. He has had 2 games where he's been poor, but guess what? I expect him to come back against Aston Villa, hopefully. When it comes to Gabriel, still one of the best center backs in the league at the moment. I'm not saying he's top 5 or anything like that. He's been good for us, and when he's been playing on form, he's up there with some of the best center backs in the league. Then you have Ben White. Still have to see, the jury's still out on Ben White. I'll give you guys that. And we have other people that are in the ranks like Saliba. So let's not make a joke into something, because guess what? A couple years ago, no one would have said Liverpool's defense was as good as it was, and a couple years ago, no one would have said Chelsea's defense was as good as it was when they were finishing 6th. So keep it quiet.
They have a good manager.
Yeah, they have Klopp though, bro. They have Jurgen Klopp.
Tuchel.
Klopp.
Good manager, yeah.
I love it.
Okay. So Arsenal just need to get Gasperini, and we're amazing.
Gasperini doesn't play for. Gasperini don't play for at the back.
Hang on, no. But the Arsenal fans who are backing you in this whole title-winning defense thing are also the same guys that are like, no, keep Arteta.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but if you're gonna have that energy, Terry.
Stop. The irony in it. Yes, you're right about Chelsea and Liverpool, but they brought in 2 of the best managers in the world to galvanize the team to do that. You guys say you've got the talent, but you haven't got. You're not going to bring. If you guys have your way that are saying it, you're not going to bring in a world-class manager because you guys are going to stick with Arteta.
Anybody who's Arteta in at this point, because I'm not Arteta in anymore, and I'm not going to flip-flop or change.
What are you?
I'm currently Arteta out, and I've been Arteta out since the Man City game.
Hang on, let me ring up Lee.
Okay, so let me tell you guys something. In my opinion, if you are Arteta in, you have to see enough in this team to say we're going to finish in the top 4, or we're going to improve to the point where we will be winning things in a couple of years with Arteta. I don't see that anymore. That's why I think personally it's time for him to leave. If anyone still thinks that Arteta is the right guy, you have to be able to see something tangible in him, not the squad.
But this is the question I ask. What do they see in him? It's not that I understand what they see in him in terms of, oh, he's young, whatever else. But it's now to the point where certain fans have attacked Henry for his comments. They've attacked Weare. They've attacked people like Daniel Ek, who literally wants to save this club from the Cronkies. They're attacking people who are legends, who want to help us. in protection of Arteta. Now, it's not just protecting Arteta. You're protecting the Cronkies because he is their project. He is them. This is what I said, Egal. When you said, what's the best thing that we can do? I said at the beginning, you don't go to the stadium. Don't go. Don't go. Get the Cronkies gone. That's the best thing you can do for Arsenal right now.
Nobody at the stadium. Nobody at the stadium is like nobody at the stadium that generally goes week in week out is like the people on social media.
No, and Egal, I know that.
The fans that are at the game, let me finish. The fans that are at the game, guys, are drinking tea and in a North London derby, are telling me to be quiet because I'm too loud. And you guys know I'm loud, but let's be real. In a North London derby, in that atmosphere, I get it if it was Crystal Palace or West Ham at home. But when we're facing Tottenham in a North London derby, you're turning around and telling someone to be quiet. What is this, a library?
Yeah, but you were very noisy.
God.
You were really noisy. You were very noisy. And I could imagine, do you know what it is, Egal? We're the defend Arsenal fans here. I can imagine that you were high pitched the whole day. It was probably more like, I thought Michael Jackson was dead. And man just sitting there, do you know what I mean? Come on, Arteta. You can do it, Arteta. Come on, KT. Come on, guy.
Come on, Tito.
Go, Smith Rowe. Go, Smith Rowe.
You can do it, Tito.
And they're just like, what's happening here? Oh my God. I sound like that.
Do I sound like that? Oh my God. No, I don't sound like that.
No,
That's how you do, man. You sound like the Canadian Mickey Mouse.
What the hell? The Canadian Mickey Mouse? Bro, I'm insulted beyond belief now.
Where's Poodle? I don't know where I am. Let's go, Arsenal. Yeah. That's honestly how you sound, bro.
Listen, where's Daoud? He needs to shave his head for the Man City game.
He does. But you know what he said to me? He went, I'm only coming down if you pay my train fare. And I'm like, bruv, you haven't got the budgets for that yet, G. You know what I mean? Like, come studio. That's, you know what I mean? It's the exposure for you. Grow yourself. But he does got to shave his... Yeah. I ain't paying his train fare. But there we go. Yeah, I'll come and pay that train fare. Dude,
Terry, stop.
That's how you sound.
Oh, man. Listen. Guys, stop it. Do I have to speak with a deeper voice now? Because what the hell's going on?
No, just speak with your voice. That's what I want to hear. No, I mean, you're not that loud. You're not that high pitched. Jeez.
Just not.
What up, Tito?
Yeah.
You're idiots. Well, boy, listen, at least the girl's smiling now because
true. I've got to play this though before we go. I've got to play. This was the best bit from Friday night on the terrace.
Those 4 games. But first of all, I do respect Palace. I do respect your fans a lot. Yeah. I do appreciate Patrick Weare. And I will like to say, because I've been to Palace games when they've come to the Emirates, they are some of the loudest fans in the league. They're some of the most respectful fans in the league. So fair play to you, but you're getting smashed.
You got this confidence. Hold up. You got this confidence from beating Norwich and Burnley. Arsenal Football Club this season beat Norwich and Burnley. Who also, even against Brighton, you struggled as well. Bro, I can't wait to face you lot because trust me, on Monday night after this game, you're not gonna have this energy. There's no bounce back.
Can I just say, Karen was leading us down a lovely little daisy path, and then you just got him and smashed him in the daisy path. It's like a boxing match now.
2-1 Arsenal.
You said you're gonna smash you 2-1.
Yeah, 2-1. No. The thing is, no. Do you really think that all 2-1s are just completely edges?
You don't believe that?
All 2-1s are edges.
No.
You can have a 1-0 at the beginning and then you can score 2 and dominate the rest of the game.
Are you gonna dominate us? Is that what
I don't know, man. It's 90 minutes. It's 90 minutes.
He's changing his mind. Viewers.
4-1.
You don't watch. There's so many of you watching right now.
In the mud, bro. In the mud.
So many of you watching. You have to watch Friday Night on the Terrace. Legit, it's the best show we do. Just doesn't get the most views we do. It's better than our match reactions. Everyone's in the same room. And listen, Curran's a good guy. I like him a lot. He legitimately is a good guy.
But he's way taller than I thought, though. He's way taller.
In fairness, everyone's taller than me, so it's kind of cool. But that's why I bench a lot because I've got these big shoulders. So man's leave me alone. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
He'll break
one of
you,
them.
bro. This guy's big.
But nah, it's all good. I'm only joking. I'm 11, not a fighter.
Nah,
There we
yo,
go.
That's not my line. Hey, my line is
That
I'm
was
not a
nice. You
violent
done that
person.
nice. You done that good. You done
I'm
that
not a
good.
violent person. I'm not a violent person.
Today he's on point. Yo, leave me alone, man.
Egal, you're gonna have to live with that for a few months. Yeah,
Listen.
that's your new thing now, bro.
Yo, bro, we better not concede 3 goals. Because I swear to God, that video is going to be dropped.
It will go viral.
Oh,
day.
mate, it is. Listen,
bro.
Take care, everyone. Good
Watch
night.
against
God
Liverpool.
bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Peace.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I need a girl to ride. I need a girl to make my wife. I need a girl who's mine, oh mine. I need a girl in my life. I need a girl to ride. I need a girl to be